Steph Curry is on another planet right now. Steph Curry's performance tonight against the San Antonio Spurs was one of the most statistically dominant showings of his career, and that's not even an exaggeration. It's what the numbers say. He dropped 49 points in 36 minutes, shooting 16 for 26 from the field, 9 for 17 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Everything about this stat line screams elite level efficiency, high usage, and unstoppable scoring gravity. Let's start with the basic math. He took 26 shots and scored 49 points. That's 1.88 points per field goal attempt, which is an outrageously efficient mark for any player, let alone someone operating at Curry's volume. To put that into perspective, most high usage scorers in the league hover somewhere around 1.2 or 1.3 points per shot. Tonight, Curry blew that out of the water. Zooming in on his shooting zones, you see a remarkable split. Out of his 16 made field goals, 9 were from beyond the arc. That's over 56% of his made shots coming from deep. 9 threes on 17 attempts gives him a 3-point percentage of 52.9, and that's on high volume, not a couple of fluky makes. He shot more threes than almost anyone else would dare, and still buried over half. Now let's compute his effective field goal percentage, which adjusts for the extra point you get on threes. The formula is made field goals plus half of made threes, divided by field goal attempts. Plug in Curry's numbers, 16 plus 4.5 divided by 26. That gives you a 78.8% effective field goal percentage. That's an elite number on its own, but it's even more impressive when you remember it's coming from a guard taking pull-ups and heavily contested shots, not just wide open looks under the basket. He was also 8 for 8 from the free throw line, which means 0 empty trips, and 100% scoring efficiency when fouled. That's another layer of scoring reliability that puts pressure on the defense. They couldn't stop him on the perimeter, and when they tried to get physical, he went to the line and made them pay. Looking at shot distribution, 43 of his 49 points came from the most valuable zones in basketball, the three-point line and the free throw strike. That's 88% of his scoring coming from the highest efficiency areas. That kind of scoring profile is the model every offensive system dreams about: maximum spacing, maximum points per touch. Now, let's put that into usage context. Curry took 26 field goal attempts and drew 8 free throws. That's 34 direct scoring actions. Add in his 2 assists and subtract the 3 turnovers, and you're looking at 33 net possessions where Curry directly controlled the play. Over the span of 36 minutes, that's an enormous usage rate. His official usage rate across the season is 33.3%, which is already higher than 97% of all players. Tonight, that number likely spiked even higher, given his shooting frequency and how much of the team's offense ran through him. He was the beginning, middle, and end of nearly every meaningful possession. And he did it without breaking the system or forcing bad looks. He only turned the ball over 3 times, which is pretty remarkable considering the amount of attention the Spurs threw at it. Defensive traps, aggressive switches, late closeouts, none of it mattered. He controlled the ball, avoided careless giveaways, and managed the clock like a veteran floor general. That ratio of 9 made threes to just 3 turnovers is one of the cleanest profiles you'll see for a guard playing that deep into a game. And then there's the plus minus. Curry was a +9 in a 1-point win. The team was outscored by 8 points in the 12 minutes he sat. That's the entire game right there. Every minute Curry wasn't on the floor, the team suffered. Every minute he was, they thrived. That's not a feel-good narrative, it's math. It shows exactly how dependent the team's success was on his presence tonight. His rebounding was also solid. 4 boards may not seem like a lot, but for a point guard, that's valuable contribution on the defensive end. It shows he wasn't just leaking out in transition or watching from the perimeter. He got involved after the shot and helped clean up the glass. Given that the team had 39 total rebounds, Curry pulling in 4 means he accounted for more than 10% of the team's total rebounding. Again, not bad for a guy whose job is supposed to be 25 feet from the basket. His 2 steals show that he was also active defensively. 1 steal every 18 minutes might not sound like an explosive stat, but it's a sign of good hands, sharp reads, and defensive effort. Even without recording any blocks, he impacted plays. His defensive stat line might not jump off the page, but paired with his offensive impact, it completes a well-rounded profile. What's especially wild is how tonight's performance came just after dropping 46 points against the Spurs. Earlier in the week, in that game, he shot 13 for 25 from the field and 5 for 16 from 3. Good, but not nearly as efficient as tonight. Yet still, it was part of the same week. That means 95 points in 2 games against the same opponent, with increased accuracy and efficiency in the second game. Tonight's 49-point outing featured a near 20% jump in 3-point accuracy from Game 1, going from 31% to almost 53%. That's a massive leap. He didn't just score more, he scored better, with cleaner looks, smarter decisions, and better results. And here's a brutal fact for opposing defenses. He's 37 years old. Tonight, he became just the 3rd player in NBA history age 37 or older to post back-to-back 40-point games. That puts him in a club that includes Michael Jordan, and well, that's pretty much all that needs to be said. The oldest player ever to drop back-to-back games of 46 or more, that's Curry now. Not some big man doing it with post-ups and layup. A guard doing it with threes, movement, and off-balance shots. Also, of his 23 45-point games, with fewer than 10 free throw attempts, tonight was one of them. That's a special category because it means he's not padding his numbers at the line. He's getting his points from the field, not from whistles. Let's talk pace. Curry played 36 minutes and did not slow down. Through 3 quarters alone, he had 35 points and 8 threes. That tells you he wasn't saving it for the end. He was punishing the defense from the opening tip. That also means he only added 14 more points in the 4th quarter, which shows he was consistent throughout, not just blowing up in garbage time. His performance created enormous spacing for his teammates. With him hitting threes at that clip, defenders had to stick to him far beyond the arc, opening driving lanes and removing help defenders from the paint. That's what analysts mean when they talk about gravity. And tonight, Curry's gravitational pull was off the charts. No other player on the team came close to matching his efficiency or production, and yet the offense still clicked. That's because his presence shaped every defensive decision the Spurs made. Curry's numbers didn't just help the scoreboard, they bent the entire flow of the game. The final word? This was one of those games where the numbers don't need hype. They speak for themselves. 49 points on 26 shots. 17 threes attempted, 9 made. Perfect from the line. Plus, 9 on the floor in a 1-point win. Scoring from every zone. Carrying usage without falling apart. 37 years old and rewriting the rules again. From an analytical standpoint, this wasn't just a good night. It was a masterclass in how to dominate a game by doing everything right, from shot selection to efficiency to mistake minimization. This is what peak performance looks like, and tonight, Steph Curry delivered it with precision, balance, and control. But I want to look more at Curry's season. Let's start with his scoring. Steph Curry's scoring this season has been flat out efficient. He's averaging 27.1 points per game, and that alone already puts him ahead of more than 97% of players. That's not just volume, it's volume that sticks, game after game. But it gets even more interesting when you break down how he's doing it. Let's talk effective field goal percentage. That's a stat that adjusts for the fact that 3-pointers are worth more than 2-pointers. His effective field goal percentage is sitting at 56.1%. That number, it puts him ahead of 60% of all players. And when you factor in how much he shoots from behind the arc, that's not just decent, it's sharp. He's making 4.5 2-point field goals per game and 4.1 3-point field goals per game. So it's not just a 3-heavy game. He's doing damage from both inside and beyond the arc. Now look at his total field goal attempts per game. He's taking 19 shots a night, 19. And from that, he's scoring an average of 27.1 points. That puts his points per field goal at 1.1, which is a wild level of efficiency when you think about the fact that every single possession counts in tight games. He's not wasting possessions. He's turning almost every opportunity into something on the scoreboard. And it gets even more efficient when you go deeper into the numbers. His true shooting percentage is 62.4%. That's a stat that includes field goals, 3-pointers, and free throws. It's basically the most complete measure of how efficient a scorer is. And Steph, he's ahead of 68% of players in that category. When someone is taking that many shots and still maintaining that level of efficiency, it tells you he's not just chucking up shots. He's picking his spots and he's hitting them. Let's break that down even more. He's scoring 1.2 points per scoring attempt. That's a combination of shot selection, range, and execution. He's taking the shots that give him the best chance to score, and he's hitting them at a clip that puts most defenders on their heels. He's getting to the line too, with 6.2 free throw attempts per game. That adds another layer to his scoring. He's not just a jump shooter. He's drawing contact, getting to the stripe, and cashing in. The combination of his shot making and shot efficiency just puts him on a different level. You've got to remember, when someone's scoring 27 a night, the natural question is, how many shots is he taking? And for Steph, the answer is not a crazy number. it's 19 field goal attempts. And when you pair that with his efficiency numbers, like 56.1% effective field goal percentage and 62.4% true shooting percentage, it becomes clear he's not just scoring a lot, he's scoring smart. That balance is what makes this season stand out. Most high-volume scorers dip in efficiency because they're forcing shots or taking tough looks. Steph's staying well above average in efficiency while still scoring more than almost everyone. He's literally producing a point every time he makes a move to score, and then some. And then think about his points per scoring attempt being 1.2. It means even when you factor in the misses, he's still giving his team scoring power almost every time he's involved. There's no wasted effort, no padding, no filler. What's wild is that all of these numbers are from the same season. He's not having hot streaks and cold stretches. These are season-wide averages, and they show consistency, balance, and accuracy. That's the scary part for defenses. It's not just about stopping his volume. It's about figuring out how to even make him less efficient. And right now, that's not happening. This scoring season is all math, all precision. It's like he's operating with a calculator in his hand and a spreadsheet in his brain. The decisions he's making with the ball, the way he chooses his shots, and how often he turns those into buckets. It's all working together in a way that makes the numbers look too clean to be real. And yet they are. Every point, every shot, every percentage. It's all stacking up to show that Steph Curry isn't just scoring. He's optimizing every touch. But then let's look at this. Steph Curry's teamwork numbers this season paint a picture that's a little more complicated than just superstar impact. Let's start with the MTW rating, which sits at 64%. That means he ranks higher than 64% of players in terms of how much his presence on the court creates positive margins for his team. It's not top of the league, but it's well above average. So even when the team's not dominating every night, his influence is still statistically valuable. Now, offensive rating. His individual ORTG is 118. That means when he's on the floor, the team scores 118 points per 100 possessions with him in the mix. That's not just good, that's efficient offense at a team level. He's helping the offense flow, generate points, and get clean looks, even if he's not always the one finishing the play. 118 is a number that shows his offense translates directly into points. Whether he's drawing defenders, spacing the floor, or making the right pass, the result is scoring. But now, here comes the contrast. His defensive rating is 119.1. That means when he's on the floor, the opposing team scores 119.1 points per 100 possessions. That's not a small number. In fact, it slightly outpaces the offense, which is why the net rating, when you subtract offense from defense, comes out to negative 1.0. So the team's technically getting outscored when he's on the court by a very slim margin. Still, that negative 1.0 net rating doesn't tell the whole story. It's close enough to even that it could shift game by game. It also reflects the defensive issues that aren't just about Curry. It includes the lineups he plays in, the minutes he shares with other players, and whether those rotations are helping or hurting the team's ability to close out on defense. So while the defense is giving up slightly more than the offense is scoring during his time on the court, it's not a lopsided situation. Now look at the plus-minus numbers. 60% of his games have ended with him having a positive plus-minus. That means in 6 out of 10 games, the team is outscoring their opponents while he's playing. That's a direct indicator of team success with him on the floor. So even though the net rating says the scoring margins are tight, the plus-minus trend says his presence is still usually putting the team ahead. Then you've got the on-off numbers. This is where it gets interesting. The on-off metric shows a negative 0.9. That means when Curry is on the floor, the team's net points per 100 possessions is 0.9 points worse than when he's off the floor. That sounds backwards because he's the best scorer on the team, but this stat doesn't mean the team is better without him. It just means that the margin of scoring is slightly tighter when he's on the court than when he's off. And that might be because he plays against tougher competition, or it might reflect bench units getting hot when he rests. It's not a knock on his effort or performance. It's just how the numbers line up. What's important here is how these numbers work together. The MTW rating, the 60% positive plus-minus games, and the 118 offensive rating all say the same thing. Curry's involvement leads to points, pace, and team rhythm. The defense has been shaky, but his offensive contributions are still strong enough to keep games close, or even pull ahead more often than not. You've got to factor in that the game isn't played in a vacuum. Curry's impact depends a lot on the pieces around him. If the defensive lineups are weak, or the supporting cast isn't rotating properly, then his net rating is going to reflect that. But even with all that, he's still sitting above average in most team-based metrics. 64% on the MTW scale and 60% of games ending in a positive margin. That's not elite dominance, but it's strong consistency. This season, his teamwork metrics show a guy who's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Even if the final score doesn't always tilt in his favor, he's carrying the offense, playing big minutes, and still putting the team in a position to win more often than not. And even when the defense struggles, he's not backing down. He's staying active, sticking to his role, and playing within a system that needs more than just one guy playing efficiently. So when you look at all these numbers together, they don't say Curry is dragging the team. They say he's giving them a shot. Every night, even when the numbers get tight or the net margin dips, he's still out there producing offense, maintaining tempo, and holding the line. And that kind of consistency matters, especially across a full season where every game, every possession, every stat adds up. Also, Steph Curry's ball handling this season has been ranked better than 82% of players, and that tells you a lot right away. It's not just about flashy dribbles or crossovers, it's about how well he controls the game when the ball is in his hands. His assist numbers, his turnover rate, and his ability to generate offense without making mistakes all tell a pretty clear story. He's averaging 3.9 assists per game. That might not look massive on the surface, but it's the context that makes it count. He's not a traditional pass-first guard, and yet he's still producing nearly 10 points per game just from his assists. That's not nothing. He's keeping the offense moving, drawing defenders, and setting up teammates for high percentage looks. And when you're the primary scorer on the team, getting almost 4 assists per night is solid distribution. His assist percentage, which measures the percentage of teammate field goals he assists while he's on the floor, is 22.03%. That puts him ahead of more than 80% of players in the league. That number tells you he's not just putting up shots. He's generating scoring chances for others. Almost a quarter of the time, the team scores while he's playing. That's real ball movement, not just solo work. And he's not forcing it. That's what makes his ball handling stand out this year. He's not constantly trying to thread impossible passes or gamble for highlight plays. He's playing within the rhythm of the offense. You see it in his turnover numbers. He's averaging 2.5 turnovers per game, which isn't high for someone with his usage. That's just over 2 turnovers despite handling the ball as often as he does. For a primary creator and scorer, that's an indicator of control. It gets more detailed when you look at his turnover percentage. That's the stat that shows how many of his actions end in a turnover. Curry's turnover percentage is 10.33%, and that puts him ahead of 35% of players. So that part's a little lower than the rest, but even then, you've got to keep it in perspective. He's involved in over 21 scoring attempts per game, and he's only turning it over around 2.5 times. That's not a problem. That's a manageable risk. His ball handling doesn't just mean dribbling past defenders or keeping his dribble alive under pressure. It means knowing when to shoot, when to pass, and when to keep things simple. And in all of those areas, he's making smart decisions. That's what you get when you're in the 82nd percentile in ball handling. It's not just about flair. It's about running the show without letting it fall apart. The points he generates from assists, 9.7 per game, are another piece of the puzzle. That's nearly 10 points the team is getting from his passes. And those aren't just bailout passes or accidental assists. They're intentional setups that turn into baskets. And again, this is all while he's still the main scoring option. He's balancing scoring and facilitating without leaning too far in either direction. When you stack all the numbers together, they make sense. 3.9 assists, 2.5 turnovers, a 22% assist rate, and a 10% turnover rate. These aren't wild extremes, but they show consistency and control. He's making smart passes. He's not overhandling. He's minimizing mistakes. And when he does turn the ball over, it's not happening at a rate that slows down the offense. This season, his ball handling has been about function, not flash. And that's why it's working. He's in command of the ball, managing the pace, and making sure every possession counts. That's not always going to show up in highlight reels, but it shows up in the numbers. And those numbers say he's in control more than he's not. It's also worth noting that even with his slightly lower turnover percentage ranking, it's not hurting the overall balance. His scoring attempts are high, his assist impact is strong, and the turnovers are low enough that they don't disrupt the offense. That's the kind of balance you want from a high usage player. So while the ball handling numbers may not scream elite on every line, they're showing exactly what you want from a lead guard: control, efficiency, and smart decision making. He's keeping the team in rhythm, generating points without chaos, and doing it all while still being the primary scorer. That's not an easy balance, but he's making it look like it is. And on top of that, Steph Curry's defense this season has been ranked higher than 52% of players. So yes, just barely on the positive side. That might not be headline stealing, but it's a lot better than the narrative usually suggests. People love to act like he's a liability on defense, but the numbers show he's holding his own, especially when you consider what's being asked of him on the other end of the floor every night. Let's start with the basics. He's averaging 1.5 steals per game. That number is more than respectable, especially when you factor in how often he's guarding the perimeter. He's not picking pockets from lazy big men or jumping slow cross-court passes. These are high-pressure steals, most of them coming from reading the passing lanes or timing a swipe just right. He's quick, and he uses that speed to take chances that don't blow up in his face. Then you've got the blocks. He's not a rim protector, and no one expects him to be, but he's still averaging 0.5 blocks a game. That's not common for a player his size and position. That shows effort. He's contesting shots, not just floating around, waiting for someone else to close out. Half a block a game may not sound like much, but it's the kind of number that shows he's at least challenging plays when he needs to. Now look at his defensive rebound. He's pulling down 3.3 defensive rebounds per game. That's a solid number for a guard. He's not just leaking out for fast breaks or watching the big guys do the dirty work. He's contributing to finishing possession. That's important because it means he's staying involved after the shot goes up and helping the team secure the ball. Every rebound counts, especially on defense, where one extra possession for the other team can flip the momentum. The team's defensive efficiency with him on the floor is 119.1. That's not a low number. In fact, it's pretty high, meaning the team is giving up a lot of points per 100 possessions. But this isn't all on Curry. That number reflects the entire unit, the rotations, the mismatches, and the breakdowns. Still, his presence doesn't dramatically pull that number down, which means he's not dragging the defense down either. It's a team problem, not an individual one. Now, mix all these together into the MTD rating, which tries to rank a player's total defensive impact by blending team and individual performance. Curry comes out ahead of 52% of players. That puts him just slightly above average. He's not locking down opposing guards or erasing mistakes like a center might, but he's doing enough to stay above the waterline. That matters, especially when he's also responsible for so much of the offense. The steals, blocks, and rebounds show that he's active. He's not hiding. He's contesting, rotating, and staying involved. He's not the kind of defender who takes possessions off or avoids contact. He knows where to be and how to move, and that shows up in the way he helps force turnovers and close out possessions. People love to focus on the big defensive plays, but most of defense is about consistency. It's about being in the right place, not getting burned, and not giving up easy points. Curry's numbers suggest he's doing that. He's not elite, but he's contributing. He's helping end plays, create turnovers, and contest shots without fouling or overcommitting. And when you consider the physical demands he faces every game on offense, running off screens, creating his own shot, handling the ball, staying this active on defense takes real endurance. There's no stat for how hard it is to guard someone after sprinting through a double team and then hitting a step-back three. But it matters, and it makes his defensive output even more solid when you factor in everything else on his plate. This season, Curry's defense has been a quiet strength. It's not flashy, it's not dominant, but it's steady. He's giving effort, reading plays, and doing enough to keep the team competitive. He's not the problem when the defense falters, and he's not the one getting targeted every possession like some highlight reels would have you believe. The numbers show a player who's committed to both ends of the floor. He's not just floating through defensive possessions or waiting for someone else to make a stop. He's working, he's recovering, he's rotating, and even if he's not turning heads with lockdown plays, he's doing more than enough to hold his own. So yes, the ranking says he's just over halfway up the ladder. But when you look at everything together, the steals, the rebounding, the contested shots, it paints the picture of someone who's more than just average. He's reliable. And in a season where every little margin counts, that reliability on defense means a lot. And also, Steph Curry's usage rate this season is sitting at 33.3%, and that ranks higher than 97% of players. That number alone tells you everything you need to know about how central he is to the offense. When you're involved in a third of all offensive plays every single night, there's no coasting. You're the engine, the spark, and the fallback plan. So let's break it down. Usage rate measures how many of the team's possessions end with a player's action, whether it's a field goal attempt, a free throw attempt, an assist, or a turnover. For Curry, those numbers stack up fast. He's taking 19 field goal attempts per game. That means almost 20 times a night. The play ends with him taking a shot. And these aren't all wide open looks. These are contested, high pressure, clock running down kind of shot. And he's still efficient. Add in 6.2 free throw attempts. That means he's drawing fouls, absorbing contact, and still managing to get points on the board. He's not just relying on jumpers or staying on the perimeter. He's attacking, getting into the lane, and forcing defenders to make tough decisions. That's part of why his usage is so high. The defense can't ignore him for a second. Then you've got the assists. He's handing out 3.9 assists a game. That might sound modest, but it's nearly 4 possessions each night that end in a bucket, thanks to his passing. These aren't just kickouts or obvious reads either. They're the result of him drawing double teams, breaking down the defense, and setting someone else up with a clean look. And yes, there are turnovers, 2.5 per game. But when you're touching the ball as much as he is, and trying to make plays in tight spaces, that's a manageable number. You're not going to find high usage players who never turn the ball over. What matters is how often those possessions turn into points instead of mistakes. And for Curry, the ratio leans heavily in his favor. Across a full game, he's playing through around 5.4 possessions. That's the context behind all the stats. Out of those 65 possessions, over 33% end with Curry making something happen. Whether it's a shot, a trip to the line, a dish to a teammate, or a turnover, he's the one concluding the play. That kind of load means there's no hiding. Defenses key in on him. Every possession, every quarter. They throw traps, switches, double teams, all of it. And yet, he keeps producing. His usage rate is high, not because the team's desperate, but because it works. The more Curry's involved, the more chances they have to score. This isn't just volume for the sake of volume. His usage is backed by efficiency. It's not just how often he's used, it's how well he's managing it. High usage usually drags down percentages, inflates turnovers, or forces bad shots. But Curry keeps the percentages solid, the assist number steady, and the turnovers in check. That balance is rare. When someone's usage is this high, they're shouldering a massive amount of responsibility. It's not just about scoring, it's about carrying the offense, being the player who starts the play, finishes it, or fixes it when things go off script. And that's exactly what Curry's doing. Night after night, he's the centerpiece, and the numbers reflect just how much is on his shoulders. It's also a test of stamina and decision making. You can't be involved in a third of all plays without wearing down. But Curry's still moving, still creating space, still making defenders chase him off screens. It's not just ball handling or isolation plays. His off-ball movement is part of what gives him this massive usage. Even when he doesn't touch the ball, he's warping the defense and setting up opportunities. So when you see that 97 percentile in usage, it's not just a stat. It's a scoreboard of how much faith the team has in him. He's trusted to make the right decision almost every time down the floor. And most of the time, he delivers. In a league full of high-volume players, Curry's usage stands out because it comes with intention. Every shot, every pass, every trip to the line is part of the game plan. Nothing's wasted. He's not just the guy who finishes plays, he's the one the offense is built around. Every possession starts and ends with his impact. And that's exactly why his usage is sky high and still completely justified. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.